Absolutely. And how long after that did you start the Bitcoin Takeover podcast?
So I started my own podcast in January 2019.
Okay.
At the time, I was in the middle of some sort of existential crisis, and my grandmother was passing and she was slowly fading. And I knew that one of her last pieces of advice that she gave me was to take care of myself and try to do something of my own and not always rely on other people. And also, I was doing very badly financially at the time, so I needed some kind of backup plan to be around the space, to do something that I thought would be relevant, even though I didn't get paid for it and I haven't made any money because I don't monetize it. At least the first 3 seasons were just a hobby. But it was a great way to get more into the community and meet more people and try to do something that's useful and provide some value there. Because if you go and listen, even your episode, I think, is very good for Austrian economics. And I didn't put too much thought into it because at the time I was doing interviews with whoever was willing to come into the show. I was just forwarding invitations, and sometimes I would have 5 podcasts on the same week. Other times I would have to wait 2 months to get one interview. And it was the case once, and it got delayed and delayed and delayed, and I just wasn't going anywhere. But I'm happy and proud that I got to season 4. And just in case you're not aware, and you're possibly not aware if you're watching this and listening, but I structure each part of my podcast in seasons of 10 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good way to keep some sort of central idea about them. I think the first podcast is about people who got into Bitcoin and have interesting stuff to say, while the second and the third seasons are more spontaneous and they're less about planning and more about just finding interesting people on Twitter. Sometimes I think there's this guy named Shaitan Yotan or something. Shaitan. It sounds like Satan, but
I know. I think I know I might know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So I met him like 5 minutes before we started the recording. He just said, "I want to get on your podcast," and I said, "Sure. When we do it? How about now?" "Sure." And we just got on a call and we were there for like 3 hours and just talked. And it was insane. But for the fourth season, I tried to be more structured and have similar questions for all the guests. And the theme of this whole season is hardware wallets. And I tried to stay focused on it. And I am happy that I was able to get representatives of the 5 or 6 most important hardware wallet manufacturers. So I had Slush from Trezor. I had BTC Chip, whose name is Nicholas actually, and he's French, but he's the inventor of the ledger. And I also had Jonas Schnelli, who is the Bitcoin Core developer, and Douglas Beckham, and 2 of them have created a Bitbox. I also had Rodolfo Novak, who is the creator of the Cold Card wallet. And I also had a COO of Shapeshift, who spoke about the KeepKey, who is one of the oldest hardware wallets on the market. And the last one, actually it's not the last one, but the last one that I'm going to mention in this sentence is Lixin from China, who designs the Kobo Vault, which is an interesting type of wallet that's useful for miners in China. And it's waterproof, it's rainproof, it can withstand physical damage. It costs like $500, and it's specifically designed with military-grade materials for the people who do mining in China. So I had these 6, and I also had Peter Todd, who is a former Bitcoin Core developer, and he's brilliant in terms of explaining how security works and giving advice. And I also had Brian from Bill Fuddle. Bill Fuddle is a company which produces metal plates and Faraday bags, and they are really great, really, and they help you put your Bitcoins in cold storage. So it was packed with big names, and It was an honor to be able to get that. And the whole content is available on Bitcoin-Takeover.com and also on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube. If you just look Bitcoin Takeover Season 4, it's going to be there. And I'm thinking about doing a Season 5 that is focused on the upcoming players on this hardware wallet market, or possibly cold storage, because that's also a big deal.